Alright guys, what is up? This is Sniperphobic here. You might know me in Star Citizen as Orkan, or the founder of Star Citizen University. Today, in the spirit of teaching, as my university, my organization, wants to do, I'm going to teach you how to get to the Yela drug lab for trading purposes. So, I am sitting at OM6 on Yela. Of course, it's the Yela drug lab, so it's at the moon, Yela. And I'm pointing my nose towards OM4. I'm going to go ahead and start a burn. I'm just going to ignore all these NPCs coming in. Go ahead and lock my gimbal as well for a little bit more control. I'm going to burn towards OM4. Fast as I possibly can. And I'm going to do this until I'm about 350 kilometers away from OM4. So, while we're making this flight, during this video, there's something else I want to do. That's point out my new ship. I used to have an Aurora LN, and those of you who have played the game for a while can probably tell what kind of ship this is. For those of you who have not played the game for a while and are wondering what I've upgraded to, it is the Aegis Avenger Titan. So, of course, right now you're seeing what it looks like from the inside. Nice and open crew station canopy. I'm going to hit F4 here and go to third person so that we can actually take a look at the full ship. So, really awesome looking ship. As you can see, it's got the 4 missiles. It's got 2 missile mounts with 2 missiles each. Next to those is the Badger repeaters, which is lasers. And then up at the front, the nose cannon. It's a chain gun. So instead of firing lasers, it fires actual rounds. I guess gunpowder rounds is the way to look at it. But this ship has a lot of firepower compared to the Aurora that I was flying around and completely failing in dogfights with. Not completely failing, but it's really hard to take out a Caterpillar pirate with an Aurora. So definitely upgraded to this. This thing is extremely fast compared to the Aurora as well. I mean, this thing hits 0 to, I think it's 260 in like 3 seconds, and then you can get to your max speed of 1,115 in under 10. I mean, it's cooking. It's not as fast as some of the 300 series ships, of course, but it's still really fast, especially when you consider the fact that it's not a luxury racer. It's a hauler, basically. It's a with some guns. So it can be a combat ship, but its primary purpose is basically medium freight. So for it to have that kind of speed is pretty nice, because you definitely want to be able to go nice and fast whenever you've got some expensive cargo on board. And of course, there's me up in the crew station, peering out. So yeah, if you have the ability to upgrade to this ship, I would definitely do it. It's only a $20 upgrade from one of the starter packages, so it's definitely worth the money. The ship is much better than the Mustang, much better than the Aurora, in my opinion, and completely worth the $20. And you can start the climb up to bigger ships like most Star Citizen players do and begin the money sink. So anyways, back to the original purpose of this video, is the Yela drug lab. So why would you want to go to the Yela drug lab? Well, I'm going to level with you. The only reason you really want to go to the level drug lab is because it's there. I'm not going to flat tell you that this is the best place to come and trade and make money in Star Citizen, because that just isn't objectively true. Their resources are rather low, so they run out very quickly, in my experience. And although the profit selling the items there is very high, You can probably do better trading just standard items from Grimhex or Levski to Port Olisar. I know that for me, I started off on Corundum until I got enough funds to do bigger things. And that's basically a 2-to-1 trade on Corundum, going from Levski to Port Olisar. There's also a lot of other bases on different moons, other points of interest, that trade quote-unquote legal goods to Port Olisar at pretty good levels. So I'm not going to tell you that the Drug Lab is the best way to go. But in my opinion, it is the most fun. So you trade to Grimhex typically, unless you're trading a certain type of drug. We'll get down to those once we get down on the ground. But the fastest run I've found, and the fastest way to make money I've found from the Drug Lab, is going from the Drug Lab straight to Grimhex, which I'll actually do in this video. And I'm going to be coming into the Drug Lab during the daytime so that we can see terrain features and I can kind of help you out. I might, at the end of this video, include a night run as well, just to show you what it looks like coming in the evening of Yela. And it's not much different. It's a little bit harder to pick out terrain features, but it's not that bad. So I'm going to go ahead and slow down here. We're about 350 from OM4. And I'm not going to burn in yet, I'm just going to point my nose down, because there's some terrain features I already want to point out. This is the first thing you're going to look for, is this big old arrowhead here. You can see it, my crosshairs are following it right now. Just right there. It's a giant arrowhead. That is the first defining feature you're going to look for, alright? Now, we move on to the second defining feature, and that is this shape up here. I'm going to zoom in on it so that you guys can see. Right here, alright? I would say that this looks like Snoopy the dog, honestly. It's got a little body, it's got the face up here, it's got the Snoopy face, you know, it just doesn't have the ears. It's a weird way to remember this shape, but it's a good way to remember this shape as well. Just this right here is enough to give it away, and then you just remember, okay, yeah, it also has a body, right? Remember this shape, because this is the most important shape in the entire process of finding the Drug Lab, alright? Now, we said that this is Snoopy the dog's head, right? So, obviously, he's looking this direction, which would make this right here the back of his neck. Well, we've got these two craters extending off the back of his neck here, right? We've got one small one up here with a very large mountain range, and then a larger crater right here. And the best way to remember this crater down here is that it's a smiley face, is the way that my friends and I all recognize it. You can see it's got these little eyes here. Even connected, you can say it's sunglasses if you want, whatever. It kind of looks like a jack-o'-lantern if you really think about it. But it's got the nose here as well, and then you've got a smile going across the bottom here. So, that is the crater, or the valley, in which the Drug Lab resides. So that little jack-o'-lantern face, that smiley face, is the third defining feature, and once you find that, you're good to fly in and go to the Drug Lab. But be careful, there is something that will throw you off. I'm going to zoom back out here, and I'm going to look down a little bit. You'll notice, right there in my crosshairs, is a area that looks extremely similar. And I'm going to show you real quick. It's so similar, in fact, that it even has these two little valleys here, and this larger valley even has that jack-o'-lantern smiley face thing going on, right? Other than size and the fact that the larger one has the Drug Lab, these are exactly identical. You can see up here there's the Snoopy Dog head, there's the body coming out, exactly the same. There's these two craters or valleys coming out, exactly the same. The melting ice patterns inside of those craters looks exactly the same. So I know when I was first coming to the drug lab, I got confused by this smaller version very, very regularly. All right, I'm going to put them both into frame now so that you guys can see what I'm talking about here as I lag a little bit. All right, let me center it up a little bit here. You can see we've got one up here and one down here. All right, if you look at both of them, they are very identical, almost an exact match, except for size. Always remember that the larger one is where the drug lab is located. If you can't remember that it's the larger one, remember that it's the one that's farther back. If you can't remember that, you're just going to have to bounce back and forth between the two. But it's really, really easy to remember. Okay, the larger feature is the one that has the drug lab. So like I said, it's inside this little crater with the smiley face. So let's go ahead and point that direction and fly on in. And I'm doing this all in one cut because I know that it's nice to actually see someone flying in the whole way, get a really good idea of what's going on. I don't want to do a bunch of cuts in this and leave confusion and questions. So for this first run in, there's going to be no cuts whatsoever. So some people will tell you that the Yela drug lab is a lot easier to find during the night cycle of this side of Yela. I'm not going to necessarily disagree, because at night it's just like any other one of these areas of interest. It has lights that come on, so it's going to be easier to spot in the dark. And in the daytime, it does have a color scheme that kind of blends it in with the surrounding rock features. Alright, so if you don't know what you're looking for, it might be a little bit difficult to spot the first time you're coming in. But once you know what you're looking for, honestly, it's harder to miss. So we're just going to come into the center here. Alright. So, if you cheated, you might have seen it render in on the side of my screen there, which is one thing you can actually look for when you're coming in here, is for it to render into view. So, right now, we can see the drug lab, okay? I don't know if y'all can tell where it's at. There's a lot of rocks out there, maybe hard to pick out. But if you look very carefully, the drug lab is right there. There's the structure of it, all right? And it's actually become a lot easier to spot recently, I've noticed. But if you are having trouble spotting it, just try to look for it in this general area when you're flying in, because it will render and you'll be able to pick it out that way. So the other way, if you just really can't find it, is to fly over to this puddle here, look up at the mountain, and follow the mountain top down and a little bit to the right, and you're going to see the drug lab sitting right there. All right, it's always going to be near this mountain inside this crater. Okay, so we're going to go over there and land, and we're going to take a look at what's inside. Gonna make sure we power off. That way our aircraft doesn't fly off without us. One thing that is still kind of wonky is if you don't turn your aircraft off on one of these moons, it will kind of start to float off. The reason being, these moons are rotating, and The gravity and stuff isn't exactly fully working yet. Remember, this is a game in alpha, so not everything is going to be perfect just yet. But here's the drug lab, all right? Really cool. It's an unmarked base, basically, on the surface of Yela. Really exciting. This is one of the things that most of the new players in my group of friends ask about, is the drug lab. How do you get to the drug lab? So we're going to head inside, and we're going to do a quick tour. Of course, this is the airlock. Come in here, you can see it is an absolute mess in here. There's boxes all over the place, and trash all over the ground, and food items left all everywhere. In here, we have a storage room. Got boxes of stuff, and these little liquid containers, I guess. Come back out. Over here, we've got a bunk area. Kind of an office room. Got an extra bed set up back here. Some bottles and some food plates. Just a mess back here, right? So there's one last door to go through. Ooh. Hit a lag spike there, sorry guys. One last door to go through. And that is, of course, the actual drug lab. So, lots of metal trays in here, and containers, and a bunch of scientific equipment over on the sides and stuff. Obviously a lab, and obviously used for making drugs. So, lots of distilled spirits, as the game would call them, also lying around in this wretched hive of scum and villainy, as Obi-Wan Kenobi would say. And then here's your trade panel. So this was the airlock. You walk right in and a little bit to the left, and you've got your trade panel, your trade and shipping console. So we're gonna use this thing. We're going to select our ship real quick. It'll let us, and it's not letting us, of course. There we go. Alright, so Avenger Titan. So we've got 3 items here. We've got the Altrusia Toxin, Distilled Spirits, and the Widow. These are your 3 trade goods coming from the drug lab. Distilled spirits, just go ahead and ignore them, to be honest. You're not going to get a profitable trade on distilled spirits. Altrusia Toxin and Widow are where the money are at from the drug lab, alright? Altrusia Toxin, you buy here for 33, you sell at Grimhex for 63. Widow, you buy here for 83, and you sell at Levski, I believe, for 156. Don't quote me on that. I know it's in the 150 to 160 range. I'm pretty sure it's 156. So, pretty decent trade value, to be honest. We're going to go ahead and trade some Altrusia Toxin over to Grimhex. As you can tell, this isn't even going to fill up our ship. We have a total cargo space of 8 SCU. We can only buy 7 SCU. So coming here with like a caterpillar or something isn't really going to do you much good. And this isn't even using all of our funds. This is only 22,000, right? We've got 52,000 up at the top. Let's see Widow here. See if we can fill up here. Not even. They've got 3 SCU and then they're done. So as you can tell, the drug lab is not loaded down with tradable goods. But what little tradable goods it has, trade at a very good value. We'll go ahead and buy the 22,000 Altrusia Toxin here. I am having the bug right now where my ships are duplicating instead of actually getting the claim done and waiting for the time and everything like that. So it's a known bug, and I'm sure it's being worked on, but something we just kind of have to deal with. But anyways, let's go ahead and purchase this Altrusia Toxin for 22,908. We'll round that off to 23. One thing that I will tell you to keep in mind is that when you're trading, no matter what you're trading, never spend more than half of your current funds to make a trade. Because, especially with the state of the game, the way it is right now. Right now, with the way that the game can crash and the way different bugs can happen, it's just not worth putting all of your money in, because if it does happen and your ship vanishes or something crazy happens, you don't get that money back. And when you claim your ship, you don't get that cargo back. It's all gone, and you lost all that money, right? So make sure you don't use more than half so that you can recover if some type of bug does happen. We're going to take off here, and another little bug, although helpful, that's going on is that you can warp out of the atmosphere. So for the sake of time on this video, I'm going to go ahead and do just as such. It's going to say obstructed, but we're going to be able to do it anyway. So eventually you will actually have to fly out of the atmosphere, but right now for some reason it does let you warp from within the atmosphere. Definitely something that could be duplicated, so let's get those reports going, get it fixed, right? And of course, it warps me in right into an asteroid, and I can't control it. Alright, that's fine. I don't think we took any damage. We're good to go. Hitting another lag spike here. Give it a second to level out. There we go. So, now we're going to go into Grimhex. And we are definitely on the wrong side of the asteroid here. There we go. Far she blows. So I'm willing to bet, since there's nobody else here, it's going to put us on pad 5. So I'm just going to fly towards pad 5 in anticipation of my landing request being approved. Maybe.
Please proceed to side landing.
Oh ho! I was wrong. They gave me pad 3. I guess it was because I was closer. Interesting. I've gotten pad 5 almost every time I've come here, so. But anyways, let's go ahead and touch down. And make sure we power off our ship so that it doesn't try to take off without us. And exit.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
So Grimhex, of course, is another really cool place to come visit if you're a new player and haven't quite been here yet. It's basically the pirate base of the game right now, located in some asteroids, nice and hidden away from the rest of society, even though it shows up on your map and is easy to warp to. You know, that whole big deal. But this is where you can come to get some pretty cool armor. A lot of times when you see people wearing the gray armor, like I have, this is where we came to get it. Was Grimhex, alright? And you can also buy things like railguns and other types of weapons here. Everywhere you go is going to have different items to buy. Levski and Grimhex are going to be the only place you can buy the railguns, and each place is going to have different armor as well between Port Olisar, Levski, and Grimhex. But Grimhex is also kind of neat because it is a base inside of an asteroid. I mean, what's not cool about that? So we're going to head inside and go upstairs here. And as for actually touring Grimhex, we'll save that for another time. But you guys will get to see the route to the trade facility. So we go into one of these elevators, and that says 2 core. I know it's hard to see because of the red light underneath, but that's what it said. So we're going down into the core of the asteroid right now, which is where a lot of the main trade hubs and everything are for Grimhex, as well as all the bedding or apartment areas, whichever you'd like to call them. So immediately, we go up these stairs, head to the left, and our first door on the right, or our first entry on the right, we take it in there. And then we've got this door to go through, and now we're in the trade section. It's got 4 consoles in here. Let's go up and see how much money we've made. Don't forget to switch over to sell. Never forget that. The last thing you want is to buy more stuff, put it into your ship, and lose money. So it looks like Altrusia toxin trades have been going on. Let's drop the price by 1 AUEC. That's not really going to hurt us too much, though. So let's go ahead and bump it up. So we're about to make 42,763. It's a pretty decent amount of money for putting in, you know, the roundabout 25 or so, or 20 or so that we did, you know. So it's not quite double what we put in. It's actually under. But it is a pretty good return on investment. I mean, we just jumped up from the 53,000 that we had to 71,000, so it's decent. Now, like I said, this isn't going to be your most profitable trade route. You're not going to jump from the 5,000 starting to 700,000 in one night just trading from the drug lab. It's just not going to be possible. But it is very fun. If you want to be able to feel Han Solo-esque and go crazy smuggling goods to an off-the-grid location and selling them in the black market, you know, that whole business going on. If that's your cup of tea, Star Citizen has room for that, even right now. So I know I do this a lot. The Drug Lab also has some pretty unique combat opportunities. You'll catch a lot of people coming in or going out, and a lot of times they're the kind of people that look for fights, so it's not too bad. And even the other day, we had a guy barricade himself up inside, and myself and a few friends had to go in there and clean it out so that we could start making our trades. But tons of fun gameplay. Like I said, this isn't going to be your best trading opportunity, but it is fun. It is something to do. And even if you don't want to go there to trade, just go there and check it out. See what kind of fun Easter eggs that Star Citizen has to offer. And of course, there will be more of these secret or hidden locations or special locations in the future. So, this has been Sniperphobic, or in-game in Star Citizen. You'll see me as Orcon. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this has helped you learn a little bit better how to get to the drug lab, where to make your fastest trade, all that business. And hope to see you again next time.